The movie starts at a party where our main couple, Tom and Janet, are present. Janet is staring intently at Tom as he socializes and he picks up on her hint. The two of them discreetly slip away to the bathroom for a private moment, while another guest patiently waits outside to use the toilet. Later, this guest approaches the party host to complain about a couple being locked in the bathroom. The hosts dismissively roll their eyes and tell him to use the balcony as Tom and Janet often take their time in there. They explain that Tom and Janet have been married for 14 years and that's just how they are. Hard to believe. However, Tom and Janet soon approach the host to thank them for the invitation before leaving for home. The hosts jokingly inform the other guests that Tom and Janet have gone home for round 2. The guest who had complained earlier expresses disbelief, thinking they must be pretending because such happiness in a marriage seems impossible. Meanwhile, Tom and Janet appear genuinely happy. In the next scene, Janet is shown having a dream in a forest with fog and red chairs arranged in a circle. She wakes up alone in bed, and in the bathroom, we see that Tom has left a mess behind. Janet cleans up, while Tom is engrossed in video games on the couch and is somewhat dismissive. She mentions that Karen has texted them about dinner plans, and Tom agrees, asking her to make him an omelet, even though she's about to leave for work. Janet spends a tiring day at her mundane job and returns home exhausted. To her surprise, Tom has cleaned the house and done the laundry. He apologizes for his earlier behavior and leads her to the bedroom, where he has set up candles. He offers her a massage, but their evening takes a more romantic turn. They rush to dinner with friends who are growing tired of their perpetual lateness and secret rendezvous. Karen and her husband mention the weekend trip their friend group is planning and withdraw the deposit made by Tom and Janet, claiming they're short of one bedroom. Janet insists that they can manage to sleep anywhere, but Karen bursts out, revealing that everyone is tired of their constant lovey-dovey behavior. It's unsettling for everyone around them. Tom and Janet are taken aback but stand up for their love. Tom expresses his love for Janet and refuses to apologize for it. If others' marriages are troubled, it's not their fault. They leave the gathering, with Janet comforting Tom as they wait for their car. The next morning, Janet has the same forest dream as before, but this time she wakes up to breakfast being prepared by Tom. She gets ready and is greeted with an omelet and coffee made by him. As she heads to the door, a man in a suit with a briefcase is waiting for them. He claims to work for the city and has an urgent matter to discuss. Janet hesitates, but the man assures her it will only take a moment. Inside, the man explains that occasionally, a couple's extreme love, constant sexual activity, absence of fights, and immediate forgiveness are problematic. He opens his briefcase to reveal 2 syringes filled with a neon green substance. He states that after this injection, they will wake up acting and feeling like a typical couple. Tom and Janet are disturbed by this revelation and mention involving the police. The man, however, asserts that his organization operates beyond the reach of the police. Tom goes to get water, while Janet, feeling cornered, strikes the man with a decorative piece, killing him. Tom returns, and despite the shocking situation, forgives her immediately. They then proceed to search online for ways to dispose of a dead body but realize the police might trace their search history. They decide to break and burn their laptop. Next, they conduct the same research at a library, considering options like cutting up the body or using acid. They find these ideas disturbing and ultimately settle on a traditional burial method. As they dig the grave, Janet becomes increasingly troubled by what they've done. Tom comforts her, reminding her that it was an act of self-defense. They return home, and Janet suggests that they should leave because someone is likely to come looking for the man they accidentally killed. Just then, Janet's phone rings, and it's Karen. She apologizes for the previous night's drama and invites them to the weekend trip. Janet agrees, and the next day they pack up, taking the mysterious briefcase with them. During the journey, Tom suddenly has a thought: what if the whole bizarre incident was a prank orchestrated by their friends? After all, they were faced with 2 options: either a stranger appeared at their door, claiming their marriage was an accident, and planned to inject them with something to make them normal, or it was an elaborate prank with an actor delivering the speech about their marriage. Janet agrees that Karen probably called to re-invite them after realizing they hadn't heard from the actor. Tom and Janet try to decipher who might be behind this scheme and conclude that their best chance to find out is during this weekend trip. They also agree not to act suspiciously and to behave as though the mysterious man had never shown up at their door. They arrive at the mansion where they'll be staying for the weekend. They enter the passcode provided by Karen and park their car. It's a beautiful modern mansion, and they are greeted by Patricia, who shows them around. She points out the spacious rooms, automatic doors, and theater. She invites them to choose any bedroom. Janet accidentally enters a room filled with guns, and Patricia explains that the owner is an avid hunter. As Janet and Tom look at the various guns on display, Patricia mentions how glad she is that Tom and Janet were invited, hinting that they were initially not part of the plan. When Tom and Janet inquire about this, Patricia dismisses the drama and encourages them to enjoy the weekend. After she leaves, Tom and Janet discuss how Patricia seemed normal, and it probably wasn't her behind the scheme. Tom considers going to the pool where Patricia's husband is, and another couple, Maud and Carla, arrive. Maud and Carla don't seem thrilled to see Tom and Janet's car parked outside and give them an insincere greeting. As Tom heads to the pool, he encounters Donald, who is lounging on a float. Donald ignores Tom and empties his beer into the pool, prompting Tom to leave. Patricia later tells Tom not to take Don's behavior personally, as Don has been acting strangely recently. Tom goes upstairs to take a shower and mentions to Janet that Donald's odd behavior doesn't seem related to them. They discuss Maud, Carla, and Richard, who are bringing his latest fiancée to the gathering. Janet decides to strip and join Tom in the shower, partly to ensure they are acting normally and partly to meet everyone's expectations. Halfway through, Janet starts experiencing flashbacks of the recent events and has a small panic attack. She questions whether they are truly normal. Tom consoles her and reassures her that they will figure out who is behind all of this. As darkness falls, the remaining two couples arrive, Karen and Val, and Richard and Gretel. They behave somewhat suspiciously. Val hands Patricia the keys to his car, implying something is interesting inside. Patricia cautiously approaches the car and opens the trunk, revealing a massive stack of pizzas. Everyone sits down to have dinner. As Tom and Janet come downstairs, Patricia recounts how Val had made it seem as if there was something dangerous or even a dead body in the car when it turned out to be just pizzas. She mentions Val's college days as a notorious prankster and shares a story about how he once convinced a CIA agent to enter a classroom and take him out for a secret project. It seems Val's pranks were quite elaborate. Tom and Janet exchange concerned glances as they overhear this conversation. They decide to go inside and speculate that Val might be behind the prank, but they're unsure about Karen's involvement. Janet suggests that Tom goes and talks to Karen, joining her as she smokes. Although neither of them smokes, Tom agrees and approaches Karen for a conversation. They begin talking, and Tom addresses the previous dinner incident, expressing that they hold no hard feelings. Karen then brings up the time when she and Tom briefly dated, which Tom dismisses as lasting hardly a week, stating that he hadn't even met Janet back then. Karen teasingly proposes that he have an affair with her, assuming he must be tired of being with one woman for so long. Tom firmly declines, affirming that Janet is his favorite. As the night goes on, everyone continues to party and consumes a significant amount of alcohol, depleting the drinks. Janet and Gretel, who haven't been drinking, decide to make a grocery run. However, while they're at the store, Janet is shaken to see the stranger, whom she killed, staring at her from down the aisle. She immediately calls Tom, who tries to reassure her with rational explanations, suggesting she might have hallucinated or seen someone who resembled him. But Janet is convinced it was the same guy. Meanwhile, Tom gets worried too as he talks to her outside the store, and the stranger drives past them, waving. This time, Janet is certain she's not hallucinating. Tom decides to take some extra keys from Karen and steals a pistol from the gun room, feeling unsafe. When Janet returns, she insists they change their strategy. Instead of sneaking around and trying to figure out who's responsible, they should confront everyone openly. So, the two of them walk up to the group and inquire about the briefcase. However, no one in the room admits to recognizing it. When it becomes apparent that none of their friends know what they're talking about, Janet and Tom decide to tell them the entire story. Their friends react strongly to this revelation. Karen laughs, claiming she was right about them being miserable, while Carla expresses concern over them killing someone. Patricia speaks up in their defense, stating it was self-defense, and she might have done the same. Val questions why they're only bringing this up now, and Janet and Tom admit they believed Val was behind the scheme. Patricia, however, laughs, saying this sounds exactly like something Val would do. Their friends then point out that none of them knows what's in the syringes. Tom asks if anyone knows a scientist, and Karen calls up a friend who agrees to come over the next morning. Tom and Janet are understandably spooked, but Patricia assures them that the house is secure. They all retire to their rooms, with Tom placing the suitcase under their bed. Later, he goes downstairs to get a glass of water, where Karen once again propositions him. He declines and returns to bed. When Janet approaches him, he tells her they don't need to keep up appearances. Janet goes back to sleep. Sometime during the night, Tom awakens upon hearing a noise and discovers a small needle prick on his side. Concerned, he grabs the briefcase, heads downstairs, and notices that one of the syringes is empty. Karen appears, confessing that she injected him and finally succeeded in getting him to cheat on Janet. Janet wakes up in her bed and watches the events downstairs unfold through a hidden camera. She cries in bed, and later, Tom returns to bed as well. The next morning, they are both awkward around each other and hardly speak. However, things take a turn when Tom notices a picture of the man with the briefcase in the living room. He immediately confronts Patricia, who tries to play it cool but eventually admits that she got the house from a coworker due to her financial troubles after Donald lost his job a few weeks ago. Everyone is shocked that Patricia took money from them. Janet points out the camera on the couch, making it known to Tom and Karen that they are being observed. Panicking, everyone rushes out of the house, but the gate won't open, and the fence is electrified. They receive messages on their phones instructing them to go back inside, leaving them with no other choice. Inside, all the furniture is gone, and red chairs are arranged in a circle, mirroring Janet's dream. They all sit down and wait for Gretel, who has gone to the bathroom. A voice announces that they need to have an honest conversation with each other. Patricia starts by revealing her financial troubles, admitting she took all their money. Janet then discloses Tom's night with Karen, causing a gasp from the group. Tom confesses that Karen had injected him, to which Karen admits but claims she only stuck the needle in and discarded the liquid. Val feels betrayed, and Karen retaliates by suggesting that Val is gay, which leads to a revelation about his relationship with his sous chef. Carla admits to sleeping with Karen on Thanksgiving, making Karen reveal it was because Tom had rejected her advances. Lastly, Gretel reveals that Richard is abusive towards her. After everyone has revealed their lies, the gates of the house open, and they are allowed to leave. The owner of the house arrives and congratulates Janet and Tom. However, Janet tells him she doesn't need an explanation and they leave. On their way back, the other couples reconcile and come closer after being honest with each other, except for Richard and Gretel. As they're walking away, Richard steps aside to urinate but is shot in the head by Gretel. Karen suggests that Gretel meet their scientist friend. Finally, we see Janet going through the good years of her marriage and coming to the decision to forgive Tom. She sits on his lap, kisses him, and suggests they need new friends, and they laugh as the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching.